Welcome to Tech Topics brought to you by CyberVenger. We help keep small businesses stay protected and compliant with cutting-edge cybersecurity and IT solutions.
Hello everyone, my name is Andy. I'm the Managing Consultant for CyberVenger. Today is another deep dive into the 110 controls of the NIST 800-171 standard. This standard applies to anyone doing business with the Department of Defense or other federal government departments. It helps protect controlled unclassified information. Today's control that we're deep diving into, if you look down here, is 3.10.5. And it says, control and manage physical access devices. Wow, holy duplication, right? Isn't this exactly what we've been talking about for the last 3 or 4 controls? Yes and no. If you carefully look at the wording, it's one of those that seems like it's duplicated, but it's not. It says, control and manage physical access devices. What we've been talking about is using physical controls to control access to devices. So it's not, before we were talking about the thing we're trying to protect, now we're talking about the tools that we use to do the protecting. So it's talking about keys, it's talking about access swipe cards, fob readers, combination locks, anything you could think of that's a control. You got to keep track of that. So control and manage. So you should be keeping track of who has access to each of these controls. You have to make sure that if you have a key fob, it corresponds with the specific person that's using it. You don't want a generic key fob that people are using. Now, you can have a spare key fob in a lockbox, and perhaps if someone forgets their key fob that day, they can go to their manager, and there's a process where they fill out a form for the day, they take temporary custody of the temporary fob, and they can use it. That still shows that you're logging and tracking, controlling who has what fob. And perhaps you have in your procedure that if the person can't produce their fob that they forgotten at home, they don't bring it the second day in a row, then you consider it legally and officially lost. And then you lock it out, or you declare a lost fob, you review access logs to make sure it hasn't been used, things like that. You should have a procedure to handle that. That kind of procedure, administration, tracking, and logging is all part of the control and manage part of that sentence. So they're talking about the access devices. You can think, and it makes sense. You don't want to have a key card disappearing. You don't want to have keys walking off and being unaccounted for. So if that kind of credentials fall into the wrong hands for any length of time, the longer the time, the more likely it is to be abused. And if you're properly logging everything as required in the previous control, then you should at least be able to know if that key fob or that swipe card or the smart card or whatever the heck device you have has been used by somebody else during the time period at which it was lost. You may be able to temporarily lock out a device if you see that it hasn't been used. If it has been used, then that would indicate that an incident has occurred, that a breach has occurred of some kind, and you would go consult your incident response plan. Everybody should have an incident response plan. If you're not trying to comply with NIST 800-171, everybody's got to have a plan. Believe me, because when the bad thing happens, when you get hacked, you get breached, whatever, the pressure's on, and you don't want to have to think about the steps. You want to pick up a document, and you want to monkey step your way through it. So incident response plan is important. And your incident response plan should be detailed enough to handle these kind of day-to-day incidents. Key fob is missing. What do you do? Well, if your incident response plan says, okay, these are the things you test. If you go through the logs and it hasn't been used, then incident is over, and you log it. You slap the wrist and shame the person who lost it, and you deactivate the fob until it's returned. And if it's found, then you can reactivate it later or dispose of it or whatever the policy is, as long as it's not something that falls into enemy hands. So that's really all that this says, and it can, again, be anything. If you have a combination lock, and that's how you protect people from getting in, you have to make sure that combination is changed on a regular basis. In fact, I really don't like combination locks. In fact, from a compliance standpoint, I question whether that's even usable. It's physical access. It's not, like machines always require a unique username for the person. So Bob cannot use Diane's account to log into the CNC machine. That's a no-no. Bob has to use Bob's account. Diane has to use Diane's account, so on and so forth. And I'm thinking with physical access, a combination lock sort of violates that rule. You don't know who used it. And that piece of information could just get spread on out there. Now, maybe there's, you're already in an enclave. It's not a data terminal you're locking. Maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe it's a combination lock to get to a list of dongles, like the flash drives. And then maybe there's a separate password and encryption on the flash drive that may compensate. Maybe the combination lock is kind of additional. Like it's not like even if the combination lock wasn't there, you'd still be compliant. Then you can add it on. I said before, it never hurts to have more security. You just can't have less. So that's really all that there is to this control. So I'm gonna see you guys in the next one.
Thanks for watching. We hope this video has provided valuable information to you. Be sure to share this video with other small business owners to spread the word about the importance of cybersecurity. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this. If you want more information about cybersecurity, visit us at www.cybervenger.com.